Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Low High Podcast. I am your ever-present host, Ira Marcelli. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Marcello. Say hello, Marcello.
How's it going, guys? Thank you very much for tuning in today.
And we just want to let you know, whether you're feeling high, whether you're feeling low, you've always got a place to go. So welcome to the Low High Podcast. So if anybody's listening, which hopefully a couple of you are, because people have told me they want to listen to this podcast. If you're lying to me, I'll know. So anyway, big question. A lot of people started podcasts this year. Amazon actually ran out of podcast mics at some point during the quarantine, which is no big surprise. Everybody's fucking bored right now. But why did we start a podcast?
Well, I think we started a podcast because there's a lot of wild crap happening. And Sally and I have had some wild shit happen to us, especially recently with this whole quarantine COVID situation. And honestly, we just want to share our perspective and hear other people's perspectives as well.
Over time, especially with the way 2020 has turned out, we have both come to realize that life really is just a series of wild shit. So we're here to talk about the various pieces of wild shit that make up life. So to start off with some wild shit, I almost died yesterday.
You want to tell? You got to share this story, man.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys the story of how I almost died drinking Arizona. Now, let me explain something. When I first came to America, like a lot of the stuff I really wasn't vibing with, to be honest. Like a lot of like the snacks and stuff. Like, yo, Twinkies are like fucking good, don't get me wrong. But like nothing else like the drinks. Some shit seemed too sweet. Some shit seemed like it was too heavy. But bro, the first time I paid 99 cents for a can of Arizona and I drank the whole thing, I held that empty can in my hand for a few minutes and I'm like, this is it. This is why I came to America. So anyway, yesterday some Arizona almost ended my life and my time in America. I don't know which would be more depressing, but anyway.
It's bittersweet.
It's bittersweet indeed. I almost choked on a sip of Arizona and literally almost lost my life. Like, it was terrible, right? Because I'm just running around like gasping for air. So like choking is the worst experience ever because it literally makes you feel, right? Like air is DLC and you just can't afford it. So I'm just running around my house just like trying to breathe. Like I'm like trying to force myself to throw up. It's terrible. So anyway, I run up to my sink. I'm looking down, I can't breathe, and I think to myself, I don't want to die. But then in the back of my mind, like a kind of voice tells me, this is it. This is the moment that you're going to end your life. You haven't done anything. You're going to die on in front of your fucking sink because of Arizona. I looked up and I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were bloodshot. I was choking for air. I looked myself in the eye as I was dying. It was a very surreal experience for me. I feel like it's kind of like changed my perspective on some things and like ferment is that even a word? No, ferment isn't a word, but I think it's made some of my beliefs firmer about life. Because bro, like this life is short, bro. Like literally I could have got like, that's a sad way to go out, and that's literally how I could have gone out. So anyway, as I'm staring at myself in the mirror, my bloodshot eyes reckoning with like the idea of my death, the thought just kind of like slips into the back of my mind, why don't you just like breathe through your nose? So then I started breathing through my nose.
And he was saved.
And I was saved. I breathed hard, fucking coughed a bunch, just greedily swallowed air. And then I went and drank some more Arizona.
You know, that's actually interesting because, well, no, not the fact that you almost died from Arizona, but like, let's say you did die, right? Not a lot of people die looking themselves in the eye, right? I mean, most people just kind of die and they don't really know where it came from. But that would have been pretty dramatic and poetic if you had died looking yourself in the eye.
Like literally, there's like, I don't know what it was weird, right? But it also created a weird kind of peace in me. I don't know why.
Because you could see yourself?
Because I could see myself and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is how I'm gonna go out. But I still wanted to live, don't get me wrong. But I guess it helped me. But like the thing about like people, like yeah, I guess there can be beauty in death. But like now, I can say like for a fact, when I was looking at myself in the mirror, bro, there was no fucking beauty there, bro. I looked messed up. But I think I don't know. Maybe this is gonna be a super transformative and life-changing experience. Who knows?
Could be. We'll find out. Time will tell.
And maybe you, our 1 or 3 listeners, will find out too.
So I guess it's my turn to talk about my recent wild shit that kind of put me here. So I studied abroad in Samoa, a wonderful island in the Pacific. And this was the semester, like when COVID was a thing. So I was out there for about 2 months. I was supposed to be out there for 3.5. And I remember this so clearly. It was like, it took us just about, from start to finish, about 4.5 weeks to like actually get back home, because we were out there and then a bunch of colleges started shutting down, right? So Marist, the college that Sally and I go to, sent me an email and they're like, okay, you need to get home in 2 weeks by the 25th. So Samoa is a very remote island. There's like one flight to Hawaii a week. Once a week. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, I think I had gotten that email earlier in the week. So I was like, I can't even try and leave till Friday. I've got a couple more days. I got to stretch this out.
I would.
And then literally the next day, I was studying through SIT. That whole entire program was like, they got the phone call. They're like, okay, we're also shut down. Everyone needs to go home ASAP, bro.
Wow.
And now in this process, so again, we were still shooting for Friday. We were like, we're going to get home on Friday. We're just going to fly to Hawaii and then we'll take our connecting flights back, right? And then somewhere in that week, Trump made that tweet like raising all international travel to level 3 or 4. So we're like, okay, everyone's freaking out. All these flights were getting super busy and booked up. And countries started like closing their borders up or like kind of locking down. Yeah. And Samoa had just literally experienced a measles epidemic.
What? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went in the spring and in the fall they experienced a measles epidemic. And this is kind of weird. A lot of Samoans said it was kind of a blessing in disguise. They have a very lackadaisical, we're living life by the moment. Like they plan for today, tomorrow type mentality.
Word. I'll save tomorrow's problems for tomorrow's me, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so what had happened was the measles had taught them to take this seriously. So they were not playing around, bro. As soon as they heard about coronavirus and that it was like in Asia, they were like, we're pretty much locking up. So they closed off all access, like all in and out. So we couldn't get out. And then my poor academic director, who was awesome for the record, tried to get us a flight to Fiji and then from Fiji to LAX.
Okay. Well,
and so we had booked those tickets and then that got canceled.
Wow.
Because Fiji had closed its borders.
Oh, of course.
And then we made one more flight trying to get out. We were going to go to American Samoa and then go from American Samoa to Hawaii. And then from Hawaii to like LAX and then from LAX to freaking Newark, wow. New Jersey.
Whoa.
It was like 4 flights in one day. And then this is the part that I was trying to get at. This is the actually truly crazy part. Samoa is ridiculously religious and we're all US citizens. And so we're like, oh, we're US citizens. Like no matter where we are, the embassy is going to take care of us, right? Not the case. No matter where you are, you're just a person, right?
Listeners, you gotta remember that this life is rugged.
This life can be rugged, bro. But like wherever you are just a person. And so, but Samoa is crazy religious. And they had actually had a couple of American Samoan missionary high priests or whatever that had come over. And so American Samoa's border was shut down. Samoa wasn't letting anybody in or out. And American Samoa's border was shut down even to Americans. Wow. Which is weird.
It is.
But
we won't address that right now.
We're not even gonna touch on that. No clue what that was about. Anyway, Samoa was like, we'll send out 4 flights only to get these missionaries back. And like that's the only people leaving at this time. So pretty much like there were 15 students who were all like, all right, we're in it. We're just gonna stick it out, enjoy Samoa. We were having a great time. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I was with the most beautiful people in the world. And but our academic director had a cousin who was a pilot flying one of those 4 flights. And she was like, I'm gonna make it. She whipped the connection card out, bro. And because my academic director's cousin was a pilot is the only reason we freaking got out of Samoa. And we actually ended up flying to American Samoa in a very small like puddle jumper plane with like 15 of us, all of our luggage, and the plane was too heavy. So we took the quote unquote scenic route. So we were just flying extra low. We got to American Samoa, and then we had to stay there for 3 days. Except they were like, when we got to American Samoa, they said, yo, you need to quarantine for 14 days, no arguments. We're like, okay, I can't stay here for 2 weeks. So there's no way in hell I'm getting back to actual America. So we, after like 6 hours of phone calls and arguing with them, we ended up getting shuttled on a school bus to a hotel. We weren't allowed to leave our rooms at all. There's security guards outside. So we were inside.
Outside everybody's door, just like
making sure nobody leaves. Because if you leave, it's like that's it. You're stuck. You're not getting home because of just all these regulations.
I would.
Which was really weird, bro, because we were at this hotel and I was looking out into this beautiful beach and this beautiful valley, and I wanted to do nothing more than go outside and like be in the sun and get in that water. But I just had to look at it. I appreciated it from the inside.
Damn. So, bro, if you'd really just like taken that moment, like, you know what everybody else is doing, like, oh no, I'm gonna live in the moment, bro, you'd still be in Samoa to this day.
To this day, yeah, bro. And then that's the crazier part. The U.S. Embassy, I think they literally just recently got those people out because they were gonna send planes, but there was a bunch of tropical storms that they couldn't charter like U.S. citizens out.
Yo, that's fucking crazy.
It was a wild ride. Like the most fun and exciting, but also like I've never actually been stuck in another country, like really far from home. So that was a really cool experience. And I'm here. I made it back alive, obviously.
Obviously. Like, would you call it a life-changing experience?
It was absolutely a life-changing experience. And what made it even more life-changing, now that I'm thinking back, bro, I had staph infection in my face. I had cellulitis.
What? Wait. How did you no, pause. How did you get a staph infection in your face?
Okay, yeah. So, well, that's honestly, it's my bad that I got this staph infection. I had no idea what staph was, so I had gotten it on my elbow at first, and I just thought it was a pimple on my elbow. And so I like popped it. You're not supposed to do that. And then like it was like a month. I had no idea it was staph. I just had all my cuts were getting infected.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, it's probably just because, you know, I was walking around in like dirt all the time. You know, it wasn't like the most sanitary environment. So I was like, that's probably what it is. But actually, one of my really good friends, Romilly, and my girlfriend Ari were like, yo, Marshall, that's staph. You should get it checked out. You should get it checked out.
Bro, you had that shit for a month before they said anything?
A month. Well, they were saying stuff all along, but I was like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Bro, you really just decided, nah, I was vibing.
I was being ignorant for sure.
Wow.
And I thought I was fine, yeah. And it pretty much went away everywhere. And then I just woke up one morning and half of my face was really swollen.
Oh.
And so, yeah, so if you let staph brew for too long, it just becomes cellulitis.
Wow.
And
bro, yeah,
my face was fat as hell for a few days, bro. I had to take antibiotics. Pus was coming out my eye. It was nasty. But luckily, because, like, bro, you know, like, flying on a plane with all that puff would have hurt so bad.
Oh, for sure.
So, in a way, it was a blessing in disguise that we got stranded the extra week for my face to deflate.
Okay, I guess we can say maybe 2020 is a blessing in disguise.
Maybe it is a blessing in disguise.
Nah, this year's been fucking trash.
That's some optimism right there.
Yeah. But nah, that's what freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, did it hurt to like touch your face or like anything like that?
No, luckily it didn't hurt. It was just really freaky.
I don't know like anything about like staph infections and stuff like that, but bro, that must have sucked.
Yep. Yeah, it was just, I felt like I was winking and smiling on the left side of my face for like 4 days in a row, bro.
Bro, literally became a Batman villain, bro. Nigga became Two-Face.
Bro, I was sleeping with my good side down on my pillow. My host brother just walked in and was like, bro, did you just get fat all of a sudden?
Oh my God.
I was like, no, you jerk. I have staph.
Damn. But that's crazy. Bro, you didn't tell me all these fucking details. Like that.
I know. I just, you know what it was? I like had thought about it so much, and I was just like, I can't think about this stuff anymore. I like just pretended it never happened, but it was definitely a life-changing experience, and it was good. It was a good moment. It's good to get yourself dirty a couple times.
Oh, for sure.
Not like dirty, like saying Samoa is dirty, just rugged. It's good to go through some rugged.
This life is rugged, bro, so you gotta be ready.
Gotta be ready.
I'm pretty sure everybody else has some crazy shit happening to them in 2020.
So we've each just given you all one individual dose of some of the crazy shit that make up the series of events that
We
molded
call
our
life.
that we call life, that molded our personalities. I like to think of myself as a positive nihilist. I like to hope for the. I like to in situations. I like to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. But I feel like, as many people have learned with 2020, it is what it is.
But Stella, can you expand a little further on positive nihilism? Because nihilism is believing nothing has value.
So basically, like, a armchair philosopher's definition of nihilism is this whole idea that, you know, we live in this like infinite universe where, in the grand scheme of things, nothing we do matters in the large scale, so we ourselves do not matter, and that leads people to be, you know, nothing matters, I'm depressed. While, you know, most practitioners of nihilism, you'll find them as internet versions or dead Frenchmen. I find nihilism particularly interesting because of that whole idea of like no hope. Growing up in Nigeria, I saw like a lot of like difficulty, and coming to America, I've seen even more. And I think it kind of makes a lot of sense for somebody to have no hope in life. But at the same time, if like nothing you really do like matters, you're the only one who has the power to make things matter in your life. I chose, I think a couple years back, to try and work on prioritizing the things I give a fuck about in my life, and other stuff just like really doesn't bother me. And I think it's because I understand that, like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, one day everybody's gonna die, but like just because that's a fact doesn't mean it's a problem. And I feel like people like mistake like the presence of something as meaning you should let it affect your life, because like there's infinite questions about literally everything. Literally all knowledge is based on something we originally couldn't prove. As far as we know, like, bro, life doesn't have a manual. We're literally like making stuff up as we go along. That's how everybody's done it. So I believe that, like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, nothing matters and we're all gonna die. So like, just might as well have a good time while we're doing it. Does that like explain it?
I understand it entirely. I think that's a very good way to look at life, actually. See, because my personal life philosophy is actually kind of based off Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Bruh.
The law of equivalent exchange. No, I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee, and I'm a big fan of yin and yang, and I truly believe that everything in life is kind of 50-50. 50-50.
Perfectly balanced.
Perfectly balanced.
As all things should be.
As all things should be, and everything is push and pull. There's no escaping it in my mind, and I really think that's how life is, with like good and bad. Any situation you could argue yin and yang is there.
Oh, definitely. I kind of understand what you're saying, because for anybody who's seen The Midnight Gospel, we both have seen The Midnight Gospel. Excellent show.
Huge
Plugging it
fans.
right now. Definitely need to watch it. Like, if you haven't watched it, I don't know what you're doing. Watch it. Watch it high. Watch it sober. Watch it whatever.
Just watch it.
Just watch it. The Midnight Gospel brought up to me the idea of engaging with life on life's terms, and I feel like that's something you're trying to get at with your philosophy, like understanding that you can't escape. Like, life is like an ocean that you really can't escape. Like, the best thing you can do is try and like flow with it, is what you're trying to say, I think.
Absolutely, and that's actually a great way to put it. And live life on life's terms, because we're actually super small and insignificant when you blow it up, right? But at the same time, we're able to navigate. We have so much control over our lives, even though we actually have no control over life.
Yeah, like, you're not the main character of life, but like you're the main character of your own life.
Yeah.
Like, obviously that doesn't mean you should like treat people like shit. Like, it's, oh no, they're side characters. You need to understand that everybody else has a life as equally or even more complicated as your own.
And they're all equally important too.
True.
That's the most important thing.
Like, we're not saying all lives matter. Don't like don't like disconstrue us in that. But like, I feel like it's important. Lots of people, I feel like, I personally admit that I had a big problem like looking at life outside of myself. And it's when I began to practice like this concept of mindfulness, like knowing where you're at rather than like where you want to be or like where you wish you could be. Mm-hmm. That's when I kind of really begin to understand life. Because I don't do like a lot of people watching, but like the first time I came to New York, I was in Times Square, and I really just kind of stood there for a while with my family, and I was just like observing people, seeing so many people do different things. And I feel like Times Square is literally like, it's like a really small scale representation of what life really is. because there's people moving all the time. You really don't, like, it's impossible to tell what's going on with everybody. Like, you only see, like, on the surface, these people, like those passing seconds of their lives as they're moving through this crowd of people. That's life. Like, our entire lives are these passing seconds in this giant wave of people moving through existence. But that doesn't mean your life has any less value. And I feel like that's what people fail to understand. So when I say, yeah, nothing matters and we're all gonna die, that doesn't mean give up. That means get up and do something.
Yeah, make your life matter, right? Kind of pick what you make stuff matter.
Exactly.
Make it happen.
Because nobody can really make stuff matter to you but you. If you really think about it. That's in 100%. My opinion. Like, everybody's like free to disagree and things like that. But I think it is really important to embrace the idea that life is temporary. I've been recently reminded of the idea multiple times that life is temporary. And I feel like it's only strengthened my position. But do you believe that, like, the temporary nature of life is balanced? Like, because people die every day.
Yeah. That is a hard one for me to grapple. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. You know, the idea of, because the only thing in life that is actually guaranteed, you know, once you're born, is that you're gonna die, right?
Absolutely.
So there is this huge idea of time and of everything being temporary. You know, like everything will go bad not go bad, but expire one day. And so I think actually the idea of time, it's the idea of having an expiration date that makes us, like, because if we had infinite time, we were going to be here forever, man, stuff might actually not matter.
Literally.
You know, but because everything's time stamped, we have limited time, we have limited access to the things we love and the people we love. You know, that's kind of what might balance what's important to you. But that's kind of straying away from your question.
No, but like, no, I'm glad that you said that, because the whole, like, idea of, like, temporary thing, like, we live life, like, basically throughout these, like, series of boxes. Like, you're born, you're in your bed, then you kind of, like, develop your own personality as a person when you're, like, I don't know, 16, 17, it depends on the person. And then, like, you literally have, like, most factors are largely out of your control. Like, you can take control of what you can. I do believe in taking control of what you can take control of. But, like, you gotta understand that, like, when it comes down to it, you're not really in control. And I feel like once you accept that you're literally just this consciousness, like, going through all of life's boxes, you can learn to appreciate how temporary things are. And I feel like things being temporary make it more important.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think you touched on, like, the biggest acceptance. Like, acceptance is huge. And I think that I don't know, when you think of a lot of things, right? Like, people trying to cheat death, you know, trying to live forever, or people try to have so much control over their life, even though something absolutely out of their hands might happen, right? And so the idea of acceptance, I think, it's a hard one to grasp, and it's a hard one to come to terms with.
Definitely.
But it's the most important in my eyes.
Absolutely. You need to accept things as they are. It's only when you accept things as they are that you can begin to work towards changing them.
That's big facts right there.
You see, you can try to bend the world, or you can bend for the world. But, like, you know, like, it's without a doubt, life is gonna be hard. The world is gonna bend you. Not maybe, you know, if you work really hard, you make a lot of money, become a fucking billionaire like Jeff Bezos, you can bend the world. But, like, if you try hard against the world bending you, like, eventually you're gonna break.
You're gonna snap.
But, like Bruce Lee says, like, you gotta be like water. Literally.
Gotta be like water.
The philosophy in life. If you bend with the world, you'll begin to understand a level of control I feel like people don't really think that they can achieve.
100%. 110%.
Like, okay, we're saying all this stuff, but I just want to remind you, but you guys all that were both like 20 something.
Yes,
and like we became like real like human beings, like, I don't know, like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
So take everything we say with a grain of salt. But
also, if you're old and grumpy, maybe listen to some of this.
Maybe listen to a little bit of
Bring
this.
You back to some optimism or some fresh juice, fresh blood coming out here.
Every old person was young once, and I feel like everybody forgets it, even then. So yeah, in conclusion, I just want to say nothing matters, and we're all gonna die. So like, do something about it. That about does it for our time today. We just want to thank you all so much for coming on and listening. As always, we are your ever-present hosts, Aaron Marcelle
and Marcello. And again, thank you so much for taking time out of your beautiful lives to come here and chill with us at the Low High Podcast.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.